our suffering is what they're making business of. Yeah. The rich get richer and the poor people suffer. Them promise say, them bring development and better education. Our lands are fertile, no food on the land. Our children, we're pushing into begging. Look the way we're living, we treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we treating one another unfair. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Our forefathers were taken into slavery, but in a modern time like this, we're children and slaves. We're fighting a war not with guns and bullets. The enemies I see are my brothers and my sisters. We're diggers of graves while we're still living. Don't judge a book by its covers. Looks can be deceiving. Whenever the sun shines, must come a rain. Who will come and take away the pain? Look the way we're living, we treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we treating one another unfair. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's Thursday evening, as always. Speedy and I are here. Paul sometimes join us, and Sis Yama also. I think she's been busy since she came from Liberia. But we wanted to come to you tonight, as always, to have a conversation with you, to educate us while we educate you, because learning never stops. As educators, our children come in every year, and as we educate them, we also learn from them. So the essence of this platform that we learn together, we bring to you how we understand the word, our worldview, and you bring to us your worldview. Tonight, we're going to start from here. We're going to start with the issue with Snow, his statement, okay, why dissent is important in democracy, why people ability to speak freely is important in democracy, okay, and why, and I would say I borrowed this from, me studying different function of government or different type of government, and from also from Peter, that no government is bad, okay, it is how that government function, all the leadership of that government. China has a communist country. It had, in the last 20 years, it had gotten over 800 million people out of poverty. It's a communist country, okay? 800 million. It has, well, I think 1 point some more billion people. It's had the most populated nation in the world. But guess what? It does not matter if, and some might say it matters, your democracy or you are a communist country, is what the leader bring to the table. So tonight we're going to be talking about and getting your view. Okay, we want to get your view. We want to get your input. What you think about the statement made? What happened?
I don't know your video.
Oh, that's mine. This is this crazy. Okay, I think I touched the wrong button. What is this? I have a green room. I'm sorry, folks. Please forgive me. I think I touched something and it just get down. But you know what? It will come back. I'm going to leave it just where it is for now. All right. This is the green screen. So I know most people are aware of that. So tonight we're going to be talking about having an opinion. We also will talk about a failed nation, when a democratic nation failed, or if it's succeeding. We're going to pinch your picture where it looks like, what a failed government looks like, and what a successful government looks like. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, Peter.
Yeah. So again, thanks for this conversation. I always look forward to it. We are talking about the well-being and the welfare of the people in our country. And this is important. It's a very important conversation to have. There are a lot of people having this conversation for whatever reasons they're having the conversation. But it's important that we talk about what we believe our nation ought to be. I know you started off talking about free speech, the importance of dissent, and I think it was Jean-Jacques Rousseau who said, I might not agree with anything, a word that comes out your mouth, but I would fight to my death to allow you the opportunity to say it. Freedom of speech is important, is extremely important. The world has come to be what it is because of freedom of speech and because of dissent. The religions that we have in the Christian church, the Methodists, the Argonauts, the Baptists, the 7 days, any of them you can think about, they all came about because of dissent of one person, the guy called Martin Luther.
Martin Luther, yeah.
So dissent is how we got to the Enlightenment, the scientific revolution. Dissent is how we got to a democratic form of government. Before that, we had all monarchies and absolute rulers. So someone has to say something. And when you're killing people because of threatening their well-being and their welfare, because they're saying something outside of what you like, well, you're going against modernity. You're going against where the evolution of human societal's evolution. So that is important. Secondly, the conversation really tonight is about what is a failed state. Snow says he wants the government to fail, and I saw a podcast with Curtis Gray, who says Liberia's already failed. So we're going to talk about that. What does a failed state look like? What are the symptoms, and what do you see if a state has failed? What would it look like? So that's what the conversation is going to be about, and you can determine whether Liberia is a failed state or not. And lastly, why would anyone not want plutocracy to fail? Why would anyone not want a person like Joseph Boyka to fail? He's come in, he's building homes for himself. He lied, he made promises he can't keep, and he's still using up our resources without really improving the lives of our people. That's all that matters is how does the government tend to the well-being of people? And we still don't have schools. We still don't have hospitals, affordable hospitals. We still don't have creation of a middle class. We're still second-class citizens in our own country. So why would anyone want that to continue? And how does that make any sense that you want that to continue? And again, some people might say, and that's why I'm looking forward to this conversation, some people might say, well, you need to give it time. Okay, there are literally hallmarks of what a failed state. You can predict if a state's going to fail or not. And I'm looking forward to having a conversation and so we can show or see if Liberia, in fact, a failed state or a place that's going to fail.
Thank you, Peter. Those of you who have already logged in, I will appreciate it. We will appreciate it. I mean, acknowledge a few of you who came in first and say to you, welcome, and then help us to share this video. Efanso, please share for us. Melvin, thank you for watching from Missouri. There are a few of you that I saw earlier. So those of you who have already logged in, thank you so much. It will help for you to please share for us so we can know. So your friend may not be my friend because we want to reach out to people. You know, most people watch this show later. Again, we're here to learn with you. You learn from us. We learn from you. Peter, thank you so much for that introduction about what a failed state looks like. You are now working for the people. And one thing we have here, we have the hard conversation. People want us to fall in line. People want us to be part of the sheep going for off the cliff, but we like to be the black sheep. While the rest of the white sheep are falling into the cliff, we are going backward. You can follow us, or you can go ahead and fall to your death, or you can lead yourself to the slaughterhouse. We don't particularly, we do care, but that is a choice that you have to make because we are all logical people. We're hoping that you are, okay? So first, we're going to start with a conversation with Edwin Snow. Oh, wow. Let me recognize somebody here really quickly, Peter. I have, oh God, Way Forward, Oga Way Forward, is an advocate out of Nigeria. It's a blogger with, hundreds of thousands of followers who have been advocating for African unity. And also, he's a Pan-Africanist. Brother, welcome to the platform. Like I told you, we're rebuilding back because it was hijacked. I have Coach Q, which is an American football coach here in the United States, an educator. So am I. It's good to have you on here. So we want to unite Africa. We want to build a nation with our brothers and sisters where we agree and build our continent. So it's good to have you on. Just wanted to recognize that really quickly. So that said, a failed state. We're going to start with where Snow said. Okay, Snow said that he wants for this government to be a one-term government. Joseph Boakai government to be a one-term government. Number one, let's understand this. Liberia, as in Africa, 64% of our population is young people under 25. In the new age, what would be my worldview? Okay, this is the technological age. I can teach from anywhere. Okay, meaning I can teach from my house, from in my bed. I can teach from the classroom via whiteboard, via a projector, and you live in Liberia. Wow, our children are still sitting on the floor. But the president is riding private jet. The president is 85 years old or almost 90 years old, whom according to you, he came with 45 years of experience. Okay, although we have other qualified corporate business entrepreneur, well-educated Liberians who would have qualified to change and came with a plan, well-thought-out plan. You said no, it's the old man time. Okay, so let's give you a chance because he been trying to fight for this gig for so long. He comes in and tell us it's about Liberia. He can even ride a wheelbarrow. No, now he's not riding a wheelbarrow. He got a $1 million car. He just bought a fleet of car. Nowhere in the world the car is an investment. Cars are liabilities. Liberians, almost 60. I'm sorry, I have cold. More than 60% of Liberians live under the poverty line. The last I checked, live on less than $2 a day. But you have diamonds, you have iron ores, you have Samsonite, you have oil, you have the second largest, used to be the first largest rubber plantation or rubber producer in the world. Okay, but your leaders are all making $10,000 and $20,000 a month. The children are sitting on the floor. The teachers, majority of the teachers are volunteer teachers. They are at the mercy of who pays them. Okay. Now, if Snow said he wants the government to fail, he wants this administration to fail, it's not unpatriotic. They say patriotism is supporting your country at all times and supporting your government if it deserves it or when it deserves it. Peter, I'm going to stop here, but that would be my word to you.
Yeah, but I'm going to take a step even further. I think Snow was, first of all, welcome to our fellow Pan-Africanist. But I think Snow was too generous. He wants Boycott to be a one-term president. I wanted Boycott to be a no-term president because this is not about Boycott. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'll say it to whomever. When it comes to my children, between my children and whomever, it is my children first, every time. Joseph Boycott lacks the education, the integrity, the stamina. He lacks the prerequisite experience to lead a country to prosperity. This is a man who couldn't get a job himself. He's a professional con man. He is a professional con man. Again, This is not about Joseph Boycott. You said he came with 45, 42 years experience, whatever. The man came with acronym, arrest. That's all he had. All he can do is point out what's wrong. He could never tell you how he was going to fix it, when it was going to be fixed. So yeah, I wanted him to be a no-term president because you can predict a person by their past. This man has nothing in the past after 42 years in government. 42 years. It's probably longer than that. If you have no legacy to hang your hat on, and you have to have people use in the windows and what might have happened in 1972, or you have failed. So I don't want to make this about Joseph Boycott because it's not about him. If it was about him, if it was up to people like myself, he wouldn't be leading our country and making decisions for our people. So let's look at what a failed state is, okay? The first thing when you're looking at failed state, the first thing you look at, lack of security and absence of equitable rule of law. Okay, so let's go down the list. Lack of security. Is Liberia a place that people feel safe? Just do they feel like the security, if there is something happening to you now in your house, if there is a criminal emergency, do you feel like the police is just a heartbeat away? Everyone knows the answer to the question is no. So the question is, how come? Because we have no systems. We don't have any law enforcement. So we don't have we don't have security in the country. Okay? If someone was to wrong you, if someone was to wrong you in any way, shape, or form, and you wanted to seek redress, you have to pay the police. You have to literally bribe the police. Well, that's lack of security. We don't have security. So we're failing on that count already. Okay? And how do the police interact with every day you see there's a fight between police and some poor guy driving a keke or driving or riding a motorcycle? Every day. No professionalism. Our people don't feel safe and secure in their own country. They don't see the police as being there for them. Okay, why is that? Because there's no professionalism with the police, and that's not a priority of the government we have. Okay, so we fail on that count. Let's talk about the fact that do we have equity in Liberia? We know Gloria Musu-Scott, for whatever reason, is not in jail. Okay, you can't go and redo a case and use at the Supreme Court the fact that there was not sufficient evidence. That's not an argument you can make at the Supreme Court. That's not a constitutional argument. If the evidence was not sufficient and she still got convicted by a jury of her peers, so be it. You must find a constitutional issue to take their case to the Supreme Court. That wasn't done. So there's no equity in law enforcement. We know that Joseph Boycott's own kid has a club, and we know nefarious things is happening all the time. They're doing drugs there. It's alleged that they have underage girls going there. Do the police go there and hold anyone accountable? No, there's no accountability. Okay. We saw that a state house got burnt down. Where's that case at? Okay. What's the last time we had some high-profile case get solved? Tell us that time. The last time there was this big murder, and then the police did their due diligence and they brought the culprit to books and made sure that he went to jail and paid for what he did. When was the last time a government official was charged with corruption? Unless Liberia is the most non-corrupt country in the world. When was the last time some high-profile person got charged with corruption, went to trial, got convicted, and went to jail for it? So there's no equity. There's no equity in criminal justice. So when you have those two things, right? No rule of law, no equity in law enforcement. you're already starting down the path of a failed state. Okay, so let me give you a couple more. Okay, about what I wrote down on failed states. The next thing I have on my list that makes a state of a failed state is no functioning economy. Let's talk about the economy. Who runs our economy right now? What is the plan to empower Liberians? There is no country that's going to prosper without the people of the country running the economy.
The colonizer.
Okay. Who runs the economy? Lebanese people, the Chinese people, the Indian people. Those are the people that are making the real money. They're the ones that own the hotels, not Liberians, and the hardware stores and the supermarkets. Okay. Our people are selling in the market, our market women. Or they got stuff on their heads. You're not going to have an economy like that. What is this man's plan to change that? So if it's not a failed state, economically, we have failed. So law enforcement, we have failed. Economically, we have failed. Okay, we're failing. They cannot articulate a plan to revitalize the economy and to make it a Liberian-run economy. When was the last time this man took an interview and questions from journalists? Let's ask for the economy.
That's the sign.
How do you plan on creating a middle class? Is it important to you? What are the steps? What should we look for? What do we see? What should we expect in 6 months? Okay, mind you, you cannot have a functioning economy if you don't have what we call people that have disposable incomes, right? People could just buy and sell and they feel okay because they'll earn some more and replenish that money that was just lost. You can't have that unless the people have jobs. What is his job creation plan? What is his private sector job creation plan? Those who have built nations, those are things that were very, very intentional about. Those are things they had planned about. Those are things that they had clear vision, and they could articulate that vision to anyone who would ask, and they would tell you plan step 1, step 2, and step 3. So I'm going to stop here. So there are 2 points I made so far. We don't have security, and we don't have an economy.
Yeah, we're going to paint you a picture, what it is. Then we'll tell you later when a state is leaning, we call it leaning towards true progress. Okay, we're going to come to that and what it looks like, and we will compare some of the newest country around here. You know, there's a saying that goes, I heard Liberians say, the ones in the government who are in governance telling, oh, we open what do you call it, cash reload to tell our story. I don't believe you need to tell your story. The people will tell your story. For instance, and I'm just going to give you a glance. Burkina Faso, a 34-year-old young man who just came to be. And if you go to South Korea, if you go to Rwanda, if you go to Brazil, if you go to Singapore, they all follow the same sort of structure. And John McAfee started that in what do you call it, Tanzania. But I'm going to come back here what a failed state looks like. When the leader ignores the people's cry or the people need, they need to serve. And we see that. Liberian people frown against Weah for riding private jets, building himself homes. And these very people came for that. We protested. We went to the U.S. Congress. Peter, do you mind if I play this with Josiah Joker? Let me play this really quickly. Guys, I want you all to play this. This is now our, and first that played, in fact, they played today what happened today in Liberia, okay? Let's play today what happened in Liberia, and we're going to play Josiah Joker. If you tell me this is a wishful thinking, okay? Many airlines have almost crashed on that runway. Today, the president borrowed private jet, literally crash, okay? Because that's crash. Crash is literally an accident, okay? That's what a plane does. So here we go. Let me play this for you all so you can see that. This is the president's plane today after coming from the AU. So this is it. Grab this version of the this is for information purposes. Again, this information are available on the internet. All right. So do not take our word for it. Go on authentically. And the people are pushing it for the logo. That's not look like the way I look into that, but this is what they say it is. Okay? This is what they say it is. So I'm gonna stop here.
Yeah, I don't think that's Liberia. I think that's a wrong video.
Huh?
I don't think that's Liberia.
No, I don't think it's Liberia, but I saw the plane. Actually, I sent it to you today. So I think somebody were making fun of them. But Peter, let me bring it. Let me bring this from the actual plane that I saw today. Let me bring it. I put it in your box. So let me pull this from your box and pull it up, because somebody will come and say, "Oh, yeah, Cindy, that's not it," but it did. It did, and they said it was due to potholes. Okay, it was due to pothole. So here it is, and here is this is what the plane looked like. Here it is. And the tire busted. Okay, and the place is dark. We have been out of war for years. Okay, here it is. Here it is right here. Somebody wrote, but look at the bottom. This is the plane. Although they said there was no injury, this is our plane. This is Liberia. Rwanda and us and the Liberian people were at war at the same time. Okay, over 1 million Rwandans were alive in less than 90 days. They got a leader who came to the table. Very intentional. Okay, very intentional. Lay out where he wanted his nation to be. He said he wanted Rwanda to be the tech giant of Africa. Okay, now here is what I wanted to play you. This is the current CSA director. This is me. Okay, hopefully we don't, and I want you to listen to this man while you're going for snow. This is Josiah Joka.
To give his
during we have time.
TRC implementation report.
Okay, we have not been in government for a year or 2 years. This is March, I believe, of 2019.
Killed in the street. People, their mass murder going on, or mob justice going on. We need justice. We need accountability. We need.
And I'm still asking for accountability. Then I was the darling of the UP government.
These are my colleagues. I lead the nation over here. I represent the
majority of these people you're looking at here are in the current government in some way or shape. Either they're family or they are.
America have been a strong supporter, still is.
I'm trying to see how I can forward this.
And we have resources, I don't think. And the reason why this was corruption. We are the victim of corruption. We are the victim of impunity.
Okay, and Peter, I'm going to stop here for now, and I'm going to see how I can forward this. So you go ahead and talk, and I can see how I can forward this.
No, I just wanted to stay on the topic of whether Snow was right and Akara's Greer was right, if we have failed state or not. I want to go down a list of things that I've listed. I want to generate a debate about it. The next thing I wanted to look at on the list, since people think that what Snow is saying is equates to treason or being treasonous. The next, we don't have, I already mentioned, we don't have a microeconomic strategy. We don't have any sustainable revenue generator outside of selling of natural resources.
Right.
So commodity market is not how you build an economy. An economy cannot rest on that. Saudi Arabia has all the gold in the world. You know why they had to diversify? Because you cannot rely solely on commodities.
Yes.
I know Mr. Cummings has said this over and over again. You
Mhm.
have to make the bowl bigger. You have to diversify. We do not have a president or a government that understands and can articulate to you how they plan on diversifying the economy. Without that, we cannot create jobs for our people. When we
Right.
talk about job creation, it's not about working in government. If everyone works in government, who's going to pay taxes? Okay, we're talking about private sectors. You must economically empower our people. There is no sustainable sustainable revenue generation. Okay, where's money coming from? Okay, we need to run the country like a business. Where's the money coming from? We keep talking about budget. That's George Lobo. All day, every day. Budget, line item in the budget. Stop talking. You have no money. How about we create money first? Okay. So we have a person who cannot tell you a money generation strategy. What are we going to do to make money? Forget all the technical sounding terms and the jargons that you guys are using on your propaganda network. No one cares. People know how to feel. They know what to see. Okay, so you're not telling no story. You cannot convince a hungry person that he's not hungry.
Exactly.
Okay? We got zinc houses everywhere. Our country is an embarrassment. For those of you who wants to justify that embarrassment and comfortable with it, it's shame on you. It's an embarrassment. It doesn't matter who's in power. The person who's in power right now does not have the ability to uplift us out of that. There is no sustainable revenue generation. Okay, the other day, I saw that they were saying Liberians building a ship. First of all, when's the last time any kind of technical a project like that was carried out in the open? We don't have factories for that. So for you guys to brag about that, you need to be a little more humble. That's not how ships are built. Second thing to that, do you notice the people who are working on building the ships? They're all Chinese. They're all Chinese. When are you going to start hiring Liberian people to make livable wages? Okay, so we have no sustainable revenue generation. He cannot tell you a plan for a sustainable revenue generation. Okay, how is he going to grow the economy? He cannot tell you that. So again, that's another failure of the state. Okay, I'm just going down the list. I'm gonna just do two and then come back. Okay, we don't have a middle class. There's an absence of a middle class. We do have a middle class, but they live here in America, and they live in Australia, and they live in other people's country. When I say a middle class, it's just people that have disposable incomes.
Disposable income.
People who can take their kids to the park and be okay with it, and to go get ice cream and to buy them toys, right? That not things that they need to eat and food and shelter and clothing, something they can spend money on outside. We don't have that. Okay, we're not creating a middle class, so we don't have any sustainable revenue generation. There's no plan for it. He cannot tell you the plan for it. No one can, but they want to come on Facebook and tell you all these technical sounding terms about how it has to go through this agency, then this agency will disperse the money. We don't have any money to disperse. We have too little. You can't just rely on exporting raw material and bribes. That's not how countries are run. Okay? We don't have that. Okay? And we don't have a middle class. Again, everything I've listed so far, we have failed on. I can go down the list. We have a failed democracy. We don't have security. We have no equity in the rule of law. Okay? No functioning economy, no micro economy, functioning micro economy. Okay, no sustainable revenue generation. Okay, no middle class. So what are we talking about? We are literally here lying to ourselves, and we're comfortable lying to ourselves. But you're not just lying to yourself; you're lying to our children. That is embarrassing. That's a sin. That is disgraceful. That is disgraceful. You're literally not setting your kids up to compete with the outside world. Who are we preparing our kids to compete with the outside world? And that's going to be my next 2 points. I'm going to get to those. Okay. Every point I've listed so far, Liberia is grotesquely failing in. So you want to say Snow is wrong? Prove me wrong. Show me how what I'm saying is not true. Okay. So I'll stop it. I got some more other points.
Thank you, Peter. And you know, when we're talking, and I'm aware you're not older than Peter is, we're speaking for the future. Okay. There's this young man from Ghana in the wake of everything that is happening, have been very vocal. And he keeps saying, we are not sleeping no more. We're going to ask the question. You want to lead us? You got to tell us how you're going to lead. This young man has set the tune. We have been waiting. We are not going back. You are not going to push her into the corner. We're going to ask you this question. Now, Peter, you talk about fairness in the justice system or equity. It does not exist. And you talk about Musu Scott. Okay. I sent you a video today of a lady at JFK. No medication. There's a newspaper that came out yesterday from the Front Page Africa, where at the JFK, now they call it a mortuary because there's no medication. People are sitting in the chair, okay? Sitting in the chair, there are no beds, all right? But you have all this accusation. I think the Gap report that just came out, they said we have 74 people on the payroll at the mansion. The new person there elected their own people and put them there, or their ghost name on the payroll that have been getting paid over, I think 300,000 or no, over 34,000 have been paid out. Okay, and they don't know who is going to. So we have to ask this question. So there's no equity. The people are, another sign of a failed state is when the people are giving up hope. Okay, when you know, Peter, 3 years ago when I went to the same place that you went and spoke, the attire shop in it's not whatever street is it, Randall Street, Macklin Street, whatever street it is.
Carey Street.
Huh?
Carey Street.
Carey Street. And when I asked the people, because first came the political party people have come, put on a suit to come and harass and be, you know, and my daughter rose up and said, Mommy, the people in that place radical. You ever there? I told Rosa, I said, I'm a teacher. I deal with preteen and teenager and American children. That's where radicalism is. Trust me. If you can deal with an American child in the classroom, you can get them to behave and pay attention. You can survive anywhere. The first thing I told them was, let's think about it. You, all of you who came, don't see me that I belong to any party. See me as your sister. See me as a Liberian. See me as an African. When you go home tonight and you lay down, before you go to bed, do you know what you're going to eat tomorrow? If I ask you to project 6 months from now, where will you be? Will you be able to tell me? Because I can tell you. I can tell you 6 months from now where my daughter is going to be, where my son is going to be. At minimum, I can project where they're going to be in respect to life, in respect to dream, in respect for hope, where they will be. Even in a case that there is a problem in respect to health care or just natural things, I know the best service will be provided, right? So we come back to say a failed state, there is no fairness in the justice system. I know Peter already said that. But we also say that in a failed state, people give up hope. A lot of Liberians, all you hear Liberians, people say, you can't help us. All day Liberians are on Facebook, on different social media, different facets, begging just to eat, begging to keep their children in school, begging for you to buy benches. The minimum for any nation that you know is going up, going somewhere, is the way they treat the current generation. I will stop here, Peter.
Yeah, so again, let me just pick up where you left off. How to treat the future generation. Let's talk about that. we have no educational system. That level of failure. The fact that, and this is from Ellen's time, she said it. I didn't say it. She said we have failed when it came to education.
Mhm.
Okay, so failing the future of the country, and then you want to beat up the kids on Keke, and you want to charge them money that they don't have, and you want to hold them accountable. That is failure on the highest level. We don't have any educational system. When was the last time? How much do we pay our teachers? When was the last time our teachers went through teachers training or professional development?
$45.
Okay, so what quality of teacher do you expect to have? All right, and these are the people who are supposed to take on the mantle of the country next. So anyone who really cares about the country will focus on the young people, on the children, on foundational education. We have grossly failed on that. So I'm waiting for someone to tell me what they believe that we are passing on. We failed on that. Education, healthcare delivery system. We've talked about that. How many of our mothers have to die? Would you take your kids to Liberia if there's a medical emergency? Will you feel comfortable right now being in Liberia? No, because we have failed on that.
Hell no.
Okay. Would you want your wife to be pregnant in Liberia and there's something and some emergency come up in Liberia right now? Okay. No, you don't, because we've failed when it comes to healthcare. So we failed with schools. We're filled with healthcare. What are we passing on? What is the plan to improve the healthcare system? Where's the money coming from when 90% of the budget is recurring expenditures? Yep. So just paying bills. That's what that means now. Okay. So we use 90% of our money to pay bills. Only 10% is left over. What are you going to do with that 10%? What's 10%? We need another 90% to even get started to begin. So when would the process of building schools begin? Once the process of hiring real teachers begin? When are we going to build healthcare facilities that our people don't have to die for simple things? When are we going to attack simple things like cholera or malaria? Other countries have dealt with that. There's a plan to take care of that. All right? We just sitting there acting like this is the only way things can be. And if you want to start a propaganda network and talk about we got to tell our stories, you don't need to tell anything. Your work should speak for itself. You are not in a position to lead. You don't have the ability to lead. You don't have the knowledge to lead. You're a con man. You talk down to people. You speak in jargons because you want to pretend like you have a level of sophistication that you clearly lack. Because if you had it, things will improve. Stop telling people they're not hungry. Stop telling people, oh, we did this. Why do you want to be part of the UN Security Council? Only 3 African countries can be on there. Besides the prestige of having a name, how does that bring anything to Liberia? You should be focused on eliminating poverty. You should be focused on getting our children good teachers and good health care. That's what your focus should be on as a government. Okay, revenue generation, creating jobs, private sector jobs, empowering Liberians in their own economy, making sure our people feel safe. That's what we should be focused on. Not trying to be on no damn Security Council. Ain't no one respect you. You're not going to be on there. No one's going to. You got to get voted on. No one's going to vote for you. You burn down your Capitol building. No one's going to vote for you. You're not peaceful people. Okay, you have a propaganda network. You feel the need to create one. Okay, and all you guys do is come on there and just talk nonsense and amongst yourself in your own echo chamber. When anyone, our journalists cannot even ask real questions. When's your president going to do a press conference and explain to us how he plans on creating jobs? How's the revenue generation going to start? Where and when? How are we going to build schools? How are we going to fix the education system and our healthcare system? What's the extra money going to come from? When are we going to stop paying back some of the loans that we have so we can build our credit rating, so we can do real projects? You have failed on that. So you failed on healthcare, you failed on school. What are you talking about? What are you passing on? What exactly that affects the lives of our people are you passing on? Show us that. Okay? And break it down in simple terms, because me, I stupid. Break it down like I came from the bush. All your technical sounding terms from your agency, no one wants to hear that. We can all do that, play that game. On the comment, talk like that. When you got to understand the audience you're talking to. You do understand the audience. That's why you try to talk above their heads. You're not government. You don't have the ability. You don't have the capabilities. Okay, but you're shameless. So you have a network and you sit there and blast it to every radio station in the country, and people listen to you, and then people know. And this is why people don't trust anyone anymore. This is why they lost faith in the government, because you're telling them they're okay and they know they're not. You're failed on that. So far, everything I've listed, you have failed on. You have failed on everything that has to do with nation building and nation development. So what are we talking about? Oh, the first time we're building ships in Liberia. That's not how you build a country. Building a country is systematic. It is systematic. It's intentional. It is nuanced. Come out here and allow us to ask you questions and you answer them, Mr. President. And all these people that work in your cabinet. You have failed, and you'll continue to fail for as long as you continue to lie to yourself. I still got some more points, Yaseni, but I'm gonna stop on here after these.
Go ahead, Pierre. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll go to my other points. Okay, so we failed on school, we failed on healthcare delivery system. We have no social network. Okay, when I say social network, here's what I'm talking about. If someone falls on hard time, where can they go for the government to help them eat? Where can they go for in an emergency to take care of their children if there's, God forbid, something happens to them and there's a medical emergency? That's what real countries do. They have this social network. They have these safety nets. Where is ours? When do we start to make enough money to now get regular Liberians to be a philanthropist? Everyone who's ever been a philanthropist have to run into government. Now they want to be president. Okay, so we don't even generate enough money, okay, for the money to recycle for us to have people who are in the position to help everyone. Aren't you ashamed looking at a picture like this with our baby sitting on the floor? Do you want someone from outside the country to see that? How would you feel if they saw that? And this is the reality that we have in our country. And you want a private jet, and you're trying to justify having a private jet. Okay, you have failed on that. No safety network for our people. So our people are literally living in the spirit, and they're literally living on the edges. Literally living on the edges, and they cannot afford to have any emergency. How's our real country? Okay, so you're failing on that. What else? There are a couple more things I want to talk. So no safety net, I talked about that, right? No support for the poor. No policy directive to change any of that.
Nope.
Okay. No policy directive to change any of that. You have failed. You cannot come out here and say, listen, here's how we're going to build schools. I've talked about this. Here's how we're going to generate that extra money. Okay. Here's how it's going to work. Here are how many people we're going to hire. You cannot tell us a path out. Okay. So you have no directive. You have no plan. And you want to tell us some acronyms about arrest. Someone needs to arrest you. You're a con man. Your government's a bunch of con people. All right. You'll fill the people on that. There is no transparency within our government. Even when they speak to the public, there's no transparency. What do I mean when I say that? Again, let's go back to the terms, even the terms they use to the regular Liberian people. Just go watch them talk on the Class Reloaded or whatever shows it on. Listen to how they talk. Educated people don't talk like that. If you're really educated, you can break it down. You can make sure that a little kid can understand you. Listen to how they talk in a country that 80% of our people are illiterate. They're hiding something. They don't have it. They don't have it, people. We literally allow a bunch of con men and con women to run and to run our country and make decisions for poor people. Let's sit there and talk about, take their plan compared to other countries. Ask them, where has this strategy that you're about to follow worked at? Why is it uniquely going to work in Liberia? Okay, what is the rate of return that we expect to get from that? They don't allow you to ask any real questions. Okay, they're con men and con women. It's a failed government already. We don't have to wait for more people to die. They're failed. Okay, so now, okay, yes, so they're disconnected from our people. What I want to talk about next is, what should a successful government look like? What would a successful government that is looking to build the people sound like?
So, Peter, before we paint a picture of a successful government, okay, I want to play this. I have the video ready. Let me play it so you can listen when we was in power. This is March 2019. We have been in power 1 year, 2 months when we were at Nancy Pelosi office, wanting to hold that government accountable. Today, I have no problem with him personally. He's the director for the civil service, okay? You are calling Snow out because he sees the signs and symptoms, your behavior. You literally do not have any plan. I think Peter noted the nation have elevated himself and changed course in the time of history and throughout history. The great United States that came from being a colony or a charter of England were very intentional. The founding fathers were very intentional, and they were going to any depth to make sure they secure that. Okay. If you go to Singapore, if you go to South Korea, and we see Rwanda coming along, okay? So here it is, here he is. Before you start calling, because you're running around and calling this man name, I'm not with Snow, have no respect for him. I'm just being honest with all of you. But you know what? I believe in equity. And as such, we must speak up, okay? It does not matter. Even if you have a killer that is being prosecuted for the wrong reason, I would want that killer to have equitable justice, okay, for me and for my conscience. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play this with Josiah Joker so you guys, all of you guys can see that. Here he is. I want you to listen clearly to him. Here you go, Joe. Go ahead.
So this statement is strictly for the Speaker and members of Congress. And so we will read the statement, and we have a special copy for the Speaker and congressional members.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good. So we will read, and after that, we'll present the statement to you so that you can all.
We're not going to read the whole thing, just the intro. That Liberian people get the
special statement in support of Resolution 1055 presented to the United States Congress by U.S.-based Liberians. Madam Speaker and members of the United States Congress, today Liberians have gathered under the banner March for Justice and Accountability in Liberia on Capitol Hill before the United States Congress to express their firm support.
Peter, I'm going to stop here. I just wanted for them to hear it. Anybody who won this, I can send it to you. You can listen to it on your own terms because we have some time here that we need to follow through with that. So we were asking for the U.S. government to stop supporting Liberia until there was accountability, because there was corruption in the government. Today, every newspaper you pick up in Liberia, there's corruption. Today, every news station, okay, that is honest, is about corruption. It's about no medication in the hospital. maternal health in Liberia is at risk. Women are being on their life by the dozens daily. There are no medication in the hospital, but we just bought a whole fleet of cars for the judges. Money is changing hands. We have a so-called speaker who declared himself, confiscated the position, built an annual door at the Capitol, burned down the Capitol, okay, bastardized our Constitution. And then the president decided he must be the speaker. Bribe people. We got bribery papers, okay, videos, money changing hands. They're living at a hotel for 8 months and no one is prosecuted. Grab 2 young men, put them in jail. According to them, they were SA as men, naked and follow. This boss said it, fainted and were crying. They grabbed them, they're still in jail. And you said there's no political prisoner. Okay. So I'm just bringing that to you, to the people attention. That young man, Etheridge, is still in jail. That they were trying to coerce and the torture, they got them in jail. They still got them in jail. So, Peter, I want to stop here and say, if they say Snow said, this the one for Dwaka to fail to be one-term president, that is democracy. Okay? Let's say if Peter has a girlfriend or has a wife, and somebody tell Peter, wife, or Peter, I want you to cheat so your wife can leave you because I love your wife, I want to marry. I don't think, unless Peter decides that he's going to cheat on her, then it becomes a problem. And that would be a failure on his part. That's what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying. So you have the plan, you have the country coffers. I know, Peter, this is not a good example, but you're here. I see your smirk on your face. I'm just saying, okay? So you are telling us no plan. Every day you come from, we had an acronym that came in that you not changed it 3 times already in 2 years. And then the excuse is the government just took power. Or Traoré just took power in Burkina Faso. Look at his footprints. He's very intentional. He went to Russia. Russia people offer. He said, no, I don't want a handout. I want to teach my people how to fish. I want a true partnership. You gave something, I gave something. I want to educate my people. I want free education, but I want to train our people in technology, in medicine. Schools are declared free. K1 through 12 is free. No girl, young girl under 18 can get married until she finishes school and she old enough to consent to her own marriage. Okay. You can practice your religion if you want to, but you cannot force other people to be in your religion. Saudi Arabia offered him to build 200 mosques. He said, no, that's not what Burkina Faso needs right now. I am a Muslim, but that's not what Burkina Faso needs. Burkina needs schools. Burkina needs infrastructure. Burkina needs factory to put their people to work. Burkina want a manufacturing company in their place. They want to be able to process their gold. They want to have the gold reserve to back their money because they don't want. That's intentional, Peter. But I'm going to stop here and leave it to you.
No, you said it. It has been intentional. And that's exactly, again, every country that you look at that we have studied that have come from nothing to something had a blueprint. There's specific steps that they have taken. They're very, very, very particular. Again, I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. It's like cooking. Even though you know the ingredients doesn't mean you know how to cook. You can't just put everything in the pot one time. You know what you got to put in first. You know what you got to put in second. How long you got to boil. How long you got. What else you got to mix before you put the next thing in. Okay. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm doing. You're sending you to cook. You're cooking GB and you cooking GB and you just throw everything in the pot. You throw chicken soup, onion, everything at one time, and the meat, all of them at one time, and say, "But that's the ingredient," and that's what we're doing in Liberia. That's not how you cook the food. Okay. Mm-hmm. Other people who are intentional knows how to cook the food. So I want to go and start talking about what does a successful country look like. I've pointed out how what failure is and why that Liberia is a failed country. And I challenge anyone to debate me on that. Okay, let's go point for point. The points that I went over. Okay, successful country, accessibility to the rule of law and justice and accountability. How do you do that? Let's take Rwanda for example. Okay, and Uruguay. I'm gonna take Rwanda and Uruguay. These are countries that went through civil wars. Uruguay is in South America. Rwanda is in Africa. So let's start with Rwanda. They had their TLC, as how it's called, Truth and Reckoning, TRC court.
TRC, True and
Real. Yeah, and they held people accountable. And they made sure that they created a nationalistic government and they pushed nationalism. And they were intentional about one Rwanda, not no tribe. Tribe doesn't matter here. Okay, when have we done that? When are we going to do that? What government have we had that has been intentional about that? And to be a father, especially this old man that we just elected, said he was going to have wisdom. When is he going to talk like a father instead of being a divisive old Bush con man? When is he going to be a grandfather to the country? Okay, accountability. People in the country must know that if you commit crimes, you're going to be held accountable for it, no matter who you are. We can't even hold the people who.
Peter, that's equity.
Yes, we can't even hold the people who burn down the state house accountable. But you get the people who so-called carried it out. Who are they carrying it out for? When those people are going to be held accountable? What are we talking about? Those people just got up. The people you have in jail right now just got up and said we're going to burn down a Capitol building. No. So there's no accountability. There's no equity. Okay. So a successful country will have that. All right. So access to accountability and access to a rule of law. Okay. They will have a vibrant economy. I talked there earlier. Liberia doesn't have a middle class. A country will have a middle class. They'll be intentional with creating a middle class. This great United States made sure to pump when they had this thing called the Great Depression. They made sure to pump money into the people, the young people. Go spend money. China, Singapore, they built homes, high-rise building for the young people to make sure that they took away that major bill. Okay, yeah. In China, they give them, they subsidize, and yes, they're a communist country, but they subsidize their healthcare, their electricity, and their homes. This is how you create an economy. Even if you can't give them money or jobs, what bill are you taking off their laps?
Yep.
What is the government taking on? You want to hold them accountable, hold them accountable, hold them accountable. What are you taking? What burden are you taking off their heads? Okay, that's what a successful country does. They take major burden off the heads of their people. This is what they do. Okay, they support small businesses. They give microloans. They give people incentive. Professionals outside Liberia, Liberians living outside, they give them incentive to come home. Okay, what did America do? They created railroads. They give tax breaks. They give land to universities and colleges and businesses that want to open businesses. They didn't tax them. They train the workers. All right. So we have to, those countries, successful countries, are intentional about economically empowering its people. We don't have that in Liberia. We have failed because we pick the wrong person. We didn't ask questions. I hear Liberians saying,
that's the problem. No question.
I hear Liberians saying, everyone's the same. Yeah, because you're doing the same process and picking the same type of people. When are you going to start asking real questions?
Right.
When are you going to start asking about the hows and the whys? And why should we believe you? And how have you done that before? And what's the time frame we're looking at? We haven't done that. So we're using the same strategy to pick leaders based on popularities or whatever. Right. And then and you're wondering why you keep picking the same type of people. You're going to keep picking the same type of people. Countries who are successful, they intentionally infuse money into their country and they build small businesses. They intentionally help those people to build small businesses. Okay, they create strategies for wealth generation. They create that. They literally help their people, and their people built their countries. Okay, healthcare. They make sure that people are not sick. There are so many things we can do in Liberia to help with little disease illnesses, cholera, malaria, typhoid. We can build a sewer system. There is so much to do in Liberia to empower our people to, and there's so much that needs to be done. There are so many jobs to be created. We're not intentional about that. Successful countries do that. They look at the problem and they work backwards. They don't give Mo Ali $250,000 to steal and not hold him accountable and pretend and literally play in our faces. And
they got that shit, Peter.
Okay.
They divided it.
And you expect to be respected. Nobody's going to respect you. We're not desperate. Okay. So we don't need to respect you because what you're doing is not respectable. All right. So successful countries do that. They create a strong, I'm going to stop here and then we'll go down some more. They create a strong social structure in the country. Again, I talked about that. Social welfare systems. Where do our people go when they're desperate? Where? So that the Lebanese man, JT, can feed them? Where? How are you not embarrassed about that and you want to be a big shot? If you're in government, isn't being a big shot how many people you help lift out of poverty and despair and desperation? When have you done that? Show us the numbers. Okay. What are you doing to make our children feel whole or prepare them to compete with the outside world? These are things, some of the things successful countries do, and I have a few more. And when I come back on, yes, Andy.
Thank you, Peter. So here are some signs for me to show or give you a heads up a successful country. Okay, everyone gets a fair shot. And I think Peter can speak to this more. Peter worked with kids whose son come from single parents home, low income home. But you know what? When they enter the school system, we have a responsibility to them. So long you live within a certain mile radius, okay, you go to a certain school. It don't matter if you're part of millionaire, unless they want to put you in a private school. It does not matter if your father is the principal of the school. It does not matter. The lesson is the same. The requirement is the same. But guess what? Those who come in a little short, we have a responsibility to them. Okay. Our goal as educator is to see talent. Make sure the resources are available. Empower that child. Make sure they bring their best foot forward. Okay. When you get somebody like a child that comes to Peter, for instance, as a coach, and he finds the talent, he has an obligation to that child, or he devotes his time to make sure that child goes and get the best possible or reach his pinnacle for that matter. In science, we say all living things grow and develop. Okay. Grow and develop does not mean you turn 50 years old or you become an adult. It means you reach your full potential. All right. That's some of the signs of that. Do our children in Liberia have equal access to education? Peter spoke about that earlier. In time of trouble, is there a place they can go to get help? If majority of Liberians who got single parent, if your child is sick today, you go to JFK, will you be able to see the doctor? We help a lot of women who some end up losing their lives because they didn't have money. When they reach out to us, by the time we provided for them, it's too late. Out of on the weekend, the doctor is not available till Monday. So in Liberia, when you get sick on Friday, you may as well hang it up. If you can survive till Monday, you're on your own. That's another thing. 2, is there fair, equitable education in Liberia that gives every child an opportunity to reach their full potential? It's not that. Are parents able to go and find jobs to take care of their family? As I said, when I went to the attire shop, If you ask 100 Liberian youth today and ask them, if you go to bed tonight, do you know where you're going to wake up tomorrow? Will you have food tomorrow? Will you have 2-course meal tomorrow? That's not possible. But almost everybody at the top echelon of the government can eat and throw something away. You got a woman working in education that makes $8,000 a month. In our education ministry, somebody who has worked there for 5-10 years make $150. And within that $150, that person is expected to use it to buy gas, to pay their school fees, to pay their rent, $150 a month. That's not a successful country. A successful country would be no one within that department should make more than the other person. There has to be a balancing effect there. Okay? People should be able to change job. My baby just graduated. The last place she was working, she left from there. She already has a new job before she goes onto campus. Although she has parents that will provide for her, whatever she works for is hers to do with it. Do we have that? That's what it looks like when there's hope, not hopelessness. When there's equity, when everyone can get a fair chance at life. That's what that country looks like. Let's talk about Botswana. Botswana is a small country, okay? A country in Africa that got her independence since 1966, have been stable, has the highest literacy rate, okay? They use their natural resources. They're very low corruption. There's a strong institution. The Anti-Corruption Act that keep government relatively clean compared to many neighbors, okay? And very high GDP. That's what a successful country looks like. It's stable. Even with the hell that's going on in America, we still get up in the morning and go to work. We don't have to go see Donald Trump. We don't have to go see our lawmakers unless we absolutely must. So we can say it's still a successful country. Peter?
Yeah. Again, still going down that same path of what a successful country looks like. How about a clear, actionable plan explained in language citizens can understand? I'm gonna say it again. A clear, actionable plan that explain language that citizens can understand. That's what they do. Again, in America, they tell you exactly what we're gonna do to create jobs during election time.
Elections, yeah.
They have debates over it. It literally says, "This is my plan. This is how things," and they have people who are experts debate whether that person makes sense or what it's going to do. This is what happens when it's transparent and it's out there, right? And you explain it in language that the lay person can understand it. So you don't speak jargons and technical sounding terms. Okay, and especially when people are hurting and say, "Well, we're speaking for ourselves," or whatever nonsense they said. Okay, because you're hiding. Do you have plan that you can explain to the Oma in the market that she can understand, and can she feel it? And can you show us and give us dates as to when it's supposed to happen? All right, that's what successful nations do. Do we do that in Liberia? No. Okay, civic engagement and leadership with integrity. Let's talk about civic engagement. The people in leadership. Let's start at the top. When was the last time Joseph Boyka availed himself for us to ask him questions?
Nope. They tell you he shows up and they tell you got 2 questions.
You got 2 questions.
Like a dictator.
Yeah, they feel like they're in this plutocracy. They're in this oligarchy. They're above the people. Okay. Do the people feel like they have access to you and can they ask you questions? Because by God, you're leading them and you're taking the resources that belongs to all of us and you're making decisions on that.
Mhm.
When's the last time you allow us just to ask you questions and you answer in a professional, respectable way, and not going to places that you were friendly places, and you sat there and let them ask you softball questions. We
Mhm.
want to ask about job creation and how we're going to generate money. When are you going to allow that to happen? That's what successful countries do. As cheeky as Donald Trump is, guess what? He still takes questions because it's
Mhm.
what successful countries do. Okay, that's what happens in democracy. That you allow the dialogue to happen. Okay, you allow for dissent. Okay, all right. So those are things I wanted to talk about on tonight, right? You manipulate people. Okay, that's why you have you have this propaganda network now. You want to manipulate people that you're doing something that you're really not doing. Open yourself up for questions. Don't say, "Oh, we're only taking questions in Bummy and Grand Bassa." Allow everyone to come in and ask you questions and answer it. Stop being afraid of people asking you real questions. And don't say, well, that's not my department. So then the person who department it is, make them available. We want to be able to talk to that person. And we want to start with the head because this is supposed to be his vision that you guys are implementing. Okay? The gap in Liberia, Yasendi, I want to close here. Okay? There's this disdain for our people. And I forgot who I forget his name, but he was the ambassador from America in Liberia. And he says like it seems going to the interior, it seems like the government officials have this disdain for our people.
Content.
Contempt.
Yes,
What's the word you
content.
use? Contempt. That
Yes.
means big hatred. It seems like they hate our
Yes.
poor people. Government officials hate our people. It's what this foreigner white man said.
Yep.
Okay?
That was Ambassador McCarthy.
It was McCarthy.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is what we see. Okay. There's wide enough gaps between the rich, the people with, and the people without. And all we want to do is hold people accountable. People, that's not leadership. Okay. That's not leadership. All right. Um, what we're doing is a pattern. This is not unique to Liberia. Countries that fail, this is what they do. Just because people elected you, because you are able to manipulate them into electing you, doesn't mean that you're a good leader. Guys, you can beat on Snow all you want. I'm not a Snow fan. Okay. As a matter of fact, I think he's part of the major problem we've had in Liberia. But what he said, what Kyrus Gray said, is true. We're a failed country. And we're going to remain a failed country until we stop being honest with ourselves and speaking truth to power. I don't want Boycott to be a two-term president. I didn't want him to be a one-term president because he didn't say the things that needed to be said because he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the education, the prerequisite education. He doesn't have the knowledge. He doesn't have the want to. He doesn't have the passion. We are a bankrupt country. Our people are suffering. We need to speak truth to power. We need to be honest with these people. Joseph Boycott is not it. We cannot pick people like Joseph Boycott. If we're picking people, they must be able to articulate the whys and the hows and the whens and allow themselves to take hard questions. Just because someone was stuck in Liberia and wanted to be a professional politician does not mean they should lead and make decisions for our children. This is why we are where we are now. This is why we don't have schools, hospitals. This is why we don't have infrastructure. This is why we don't have an economy. We are picking the wrong people, and those people are picking people just like them. Birds of the feathers flock together. Liberia is a failed state because we have picked failures to lead. 42 years. 42 years Joseph Boycott has been in government. Please tell us his legacy. We are failed state.
So for me, what I would say in my closing statement would be, I'm asking a question with running up and down and asking for a UN non-voting position, which is symbolic. I'm trying to find out. I, I want to know, what does it do for the Liberian people if we get a position that all our leaders are running up and down, taking flight, spending money, and our children are sitting on the floor. Liberian women are perishing at their hospital in childbirth. Some of them can't even afford to show their faces to the hospital, so they go behind the house. Why in desperation? Um, how does that? I just want somebody to educate me. What does that do for us? Does it create job for us? It's not a position that you can vote. It's not a position that you have a word to say or power. It's literally just symbolic. And then I asked the question I keep asking, send back into power, where's the schematics? What is the roadmap? In so many words, where is the blueprints in respect to where we're going? What do we intend to finish or accomplish by the end of this year? The first year was free fall, but the president is building a $10 million mansion. And then I'm going to say, I keep going, and people say you get excited. There's a young man in the West Africa called Traore that now the so-called powerful are trying to take him down because he's setting a tune and opening their eyes and awakening Africa, waking up the people. Okay. And the young people around from this first, they said the Sahel was now have taken over by desert. It was this, it was that. Now they're telling us they want to go and save them. They're not looking for savior. They're fighting for survivor. They're fighting and very intentional in building a nation. So what does this do for us as Liberians? I don't see where our president is fighting for survival. I don't see where our president has a clear roadmap as to where we are going. But we know the people who are living in America or people who were there were saying we'll become millionaire in the first 6 months. And I think all of them are at this point. We came to a place where they said they were ordering 285 yellow machine. It was going to cost around 80 million. Okay. When people are most ability then came and say, listen, I have yellow machine. I know how much it costs. And the Liberian people kind of stood up and say, this is it. People started doing research and posting how much it costs. That 285 machine came down to $20 million instead of $80 million. Who answering for the $60 million? Were they trying to, and then we were quite graft, were they trying to steal? Was the money for the people? How many schools do we have set in motion to build in the next 3 years? How many children are we going to send to, or how many teachers are we training in AI? Because that's where the war is headed. How do our children compete? How many teachers understand how to turn on a computer? How do they work remotely? How many schools in Liberia is powered by solar panel? So we don't have electricity or windmill for that matter. How many schools? Or what is the projection? That's how you tell you, how do our children compete? If you stay in Liberia and you put a truck in the middle of Broad Street and say, whoever gets on this bus, we will take them to America, we will take them to Europe, okay? We will even take them to China. They will kill each other getting onto that bus. That's how you know we're not going anywhere. What do you have emotion? What is the plan? What's the roadmap? What's the schematics? Okay, what are the blueprints? That's what we're asking for. And what is the schedule? How are you going to do it? Why will you want to do it? How does that impact the nation? How do that change the trajectory of the nation, of the young people, especially 60+% of the people are young people? Are you giving hope, or are the people being diminished? Those are the things that we need to consider. So yeah, Peter.
So yeah, here's where I'll close. When is it going to be our children's time? When? I heard Joy Howard Taylor last time saying it's our time. Someone
Yeah,
says the puppet time.
yeah,
When is it going to be our children's time?
yeah.
Nobody's going to respect a home that don't take care of its children. Nobody does. Nobody ever will. You're picking people who have made no sacrifices for our children. Tell me the sacrifice. I'm not talking about the self-aggrandized sacrifices that some of them say they made because they got
Then
arrested.
maybe because they were in the street and running campaign.
Yeah, and they got arrested. That's not a sacrifice I'm talking about. I'm saying, when are you going to go without so that our kids, and it has no direct benefit to you, will one day live and be better? What is your plan? And all these people are vying to lead the line. What makes you think we will sit there moving forward and allow you to do that and put our children in a bad place? When is it going to be our children's turn? When are we going to start living for the next generation? That's what real parents do. That's what real adults do. Live for the kids. That's what they do in this country. And that's why their country became great. When are we going to do that? And those are the things that we must hold those people who want to lead accountable on. I don't want to hear about how long you've been running for and what party you belong to. That means nothing. Tell me
Nope.
your economic worldview and what makes you think it's going to work in Liberia and how you're going to implement it. Why do you think you're the best person to lead? When are you going to sit there and allow us to ask you real questions, Mr. Boycott? There are people who are hurting. Our mothers are dying. Our kids are not being educated. We have so much talent that's being wasted. I'm an educator. And looking back on it, all I care about, all people like me care about, is the next generation. I cannot help it. It's innate. It's within me. You have to understand moving forward. We're not going to sit on the sideline anymore. I think we did that, and I regret doing that. I was not as active as I should have. I'm talking about boots on the ground active.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to fight you guys. We're going to make you answer real questions if you want to lead. I have no interest in politics. None. I just want to coach and teach. But what I'm not going to do is sit there and allow Common to continue to do what they're doing. And I hope more people will join me and say, enough is enough. It's time for our kids. And the way you do that is you ask real questions. What do we need in Liberia? We need money. How are you going to generate money? How are we going to pay our bills? Where's the money coming from? Why do you think it's going to work? Money. We need a rule of law. We need money. That will build hospitals, we'll build schools. How are you going to economically empower Liberian people? Explain that plan from step A to step Z. If you cannot do that adequately and get peer review by experts, do not even think for 1 second you're going to cuss someone, you're going to intimidate someone, not to call you out. You've got the wrong people now. You have woken up some of us, and I said this before, we are the last generation of Liberians who is sending money back. Our children, us that was there, that was born in Liberia, went to school in Liberia, left because of the war. Once that generation is gone, our kids are not sending money back to Liberia. They're Americans, they're Australians, they're British. They're not Liberians like that. This is our civil war. This is our battle. We have to make sure that the right people are put in place so our country will be a country, a home that our kids can come to, a home that we can come and retire in. So thank you so much for this conversation, Yasendi.
Thank you, Peter.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We're gonna say good night. Yeah, we know you're gonna come back later and wash, but that's that. So good luck to all of you. This is where we are. I'm gonna come on tomorrow and I will talk about what just happened. Good night, Peter. Let's talk off here. Bye, everyone. Thank you.